Yo, what's up? It's your boy, Spike Lindsay.
Back in the building.
Not for us. So we here with another reaction video slash analyzation. I don't know what you would call it. I decided to do an artist this time that's kind of newer. Last time I did Lana Del Rey. I really was impressed with the response. It got like 100 views in 2 days, which I know a lot of people will look at that and go, 100 views. But as my first video, 100 views, 2 days, 10 likes. I really appreciate just like everyone who watched that. I didn't tell any of my friends or family, so like the fact that it was just random people, that's dope. Today we're here with Beabadoobee, as you can probably tell from the video title. Beabadoobee, if you don't know, is an artist. She's a rock artist. Her songwriting ability, the fact that she's only been playing guitar for 1.5 years is crazy because her guitar skills are really good. And she makes these very honest, kind of down-to-earth songs that have a lot of grungy instrumentation to it and production to it, which is why I got my, hold on, I kind of had it to the side. I didn't realize, kind of like T.I., the Nirvana beanie on, because some of the Nirvana stands might get at me for this, but listen, like a lot of the instrumentation, a lot of the attitude, her melodic sensibilities remind me a lot of Kurt Cobain actually, and I really like that because grunge is probably my favorite era of rock music. So yeah, so let's do this, guys.
Think I'm starting to change. With the weeks and the
So I love that hook. That hook is crazy. Like, hold on, let me let's break down the lyrics on that hook a little bit right there. Think I'm starting to change with the weeks and think I'm starting to change with the weeks and the days. Got this new blue-haired phase. I think I kind of like it. Think I kind of like it. Yeah. Even though, how old is Beabadoobee? I think she's like 20, but like no matter what stage in life you're in, you can relate to that. Like, we're always changing. And then she says, I think I kind of like it. I love that because so much of the time nowadays on social media, you say,
I ain't changed. I stayed real. I stayed true to my day ones. You feel me? I ain't changed a bit, but it's like
you gotta change in life. Like, I hope you would change. You know, we're all supposed to be changing for the better. So it's like, I like that she just puts out there, it's like, yeah, I changed. Like,
get over it.
Got new hair, a new phase. I'm from outer space, and I'm pretty sure I'll get used to it. Now, when I first heard the hook, I thought for the longest time she was saying a new face, and I thought that was like the deepest thing ever because I was like, oh, she got a new face. Like, how can you blow up? And they give you all these makeup artists and stuff, and now she's got, no, it's a new phase. Like, she's in a new phase of her life, which is deep too because it's like, people are like,
oh, well, Bieber, like, it's just a phase. Like, she's just trying to be this rock star now. It's like,
yeah, everything in life is a phase. Like, if you're a doctor, you're not going to be a doctor forever. Even if you're a doctor for 50 years, at some point you're going to retire. And that was a phase in your life. Everything's a phase. So like, why do we look down on certain phases as opposed to others? You know what I mean? I think that's a really cool lyric. This song is off the EP. She has an EP called Space Cadet. And it's off of that. So there's so many space references. So let's move on. I want to talk about the chords in that hook a little bit. I almost forgot. So one thing she's doing really cool here, and this is very grunge, and so in the B major scale, E major would be the 4th in the B major scale. The song pretty much plays with B major, E major, and A major. On the hook, she changes out that E major into she changes one note and it becomes E minor, and it just goes completely out of the scale. So the hook is, okay, we're back in it. We're in the scale, we're out of the scale, and we're back in it. And I think it's cool because songwriting is music and lyrics together. So it's making sure that the music actually doesn't just fit, but it elevates the lyrics. How she goes in and out of the scale is a sonic representation of what she's talking about in the lyrics as, I feel like I'm out of place. Like, the chords are literally out of place. B, E. Like but I do know in the solo she likes to play certain notes that are actually sharp. So it's like, again, that whole idea of feeling like you're out of place. Like there's certain notes in the solo that she plays that are just not in the scale. Like they're just completely out of the scale. To again just reinforce that feeling of like things being out of place, feeling like you don't really fit in, you know what I mean? So this part coming up, she has so much swag on with the vocal. Because Photoshop, your brain is shit, you're up your butt, you never really ask me how I am. Okay, so I really like this passage. Here, listen to this. So now I've changed, I've been feeling comfy. Now I've changed, I've been feeling lonely. Cause your photos suck, your brand is shit, you're up your butt, you never really ask me how I am, ask me how I am. When you're a kid, you only know how to be yourself. And then like you kind of get into like, I don't know, elementary school, and as you get older, people start putting like societal expectations into you, and you kind of learn what society wants you to be. So it's like, if I'm just being me now, I don't really know how to do that anymore. So you almost have to change back to just being you. And so much of your young adult life is like changing back. You feel more comfortable in your own skin. But at the same time, the more you become yourself, the more those dissonances between you and society start to come out. And then you start to feel more lonely because maybe people that you originally were friends with, I can relate to that for sure. Like people you originally were friends with, you're like, I kind of was friends, like the real me wasn't friends with you. And you go from that to like blowing up for being so different and cool and weird. And then it's like, now you're dealing with the industry. And it's like, you know, now people are trying to brand you a certain way. And it's like, dude, like your photo, like you're trying to make me something I'm not. Your photos suck. The brand you have for me is shit. Like, you're up your butt, and you never really ask me how I am.
Ask me how I am.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's a really dope lyric. Long A chord, A, 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 A. E major, E minor, B. I mean, that's one of the best rock songs I've heard in years. One thing, and this gets me, we're going to move on to the next song soon, but one thing that I really feel about rock music nowadays is like, I just hear so much like, and I like it, don't get me wrong, but I just hear so much like, la la la. Like everything nowadays is soft rock. I just want something that feels fresh and new, but at the same time really rocks out. And I think one thing, this is my little theory, I think that hip hop nowadays is like the new rock music. I know a lot of people say that, but I think literally in the sense that when people want to turn up, what do they listen to? Trap. They listen to like trap music, they listen to hip hop. I think it's kind of created this space where people don't go to like hard rock anymore to turn up. And so I think you find that a lot of the more popular rock bands nowadays are these super duper depressing, like low key soft rock indie bands. And on the bigger channels, I think that Beabadoobee is one of the few people that is getting that platform. I'm not saying no one else is doing it, I'm just saying she's one of the few people that's getting that platform that is actually like rocking out. And it's really cool to see somebody like, especially like, I mean, no racial, but especially like a young Asian girl. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. Like, I don't think we've ever seen that before. Because everyone was like, huh, Asians rock out? You know what I'm saying? Because people are racist, you feel me? We're all racist. It's something that we all need to deal with. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into She Plays Bass.
Hey, won't you call me back? 'Cause I've been waiting for a text back. If it's my brain, this chick plays bass.
One thing that gives it kind of this airy You can't really tell if it's happy or sad vibe, is that she uses jazz chords actually. A jazz chord is a 7th chord. So if you play D major normally, you see how like happy and go lucky that sounds? You know what I mean? It's like a happy chord, right? If you take the root note, which is played twice in that, it's here and it's here. And you play that chord, but then you go one semitone, so half a whole tone, half a note basically. You flat that higher one to, ooh, we're a little bit more mysterious now. Ooh, are we happy? I know we're not sad, but it's almost like we're wistful, like we're just thinking. And that's something that's very jazzy. That's a jazz, like in jazz, you play every chord as a 7th. If you read a lead sheet in jazz, they actually won't even say it's a 7th chord, because when you're in the jazz tradition, everything's a 7th chord. They'll tell you when it's not. Starts on a 7th chord, D7, D major 7th, then we go to G major. And so we're kind of just going back and forth between that. Hey, won't you call me back? 'Cause I've been waiting for a text back. The courteous thing to do when somebody texts you about something important and you don't respond, it'll be extra courteous to like call them back. You know what I mean? Call me back. Don't text me back.
Call me back.
By the way, her bass is fire. Like she be going off. Like it's like but she's all over the fretboard. Like listen, if you're a bassist, this is probably a cool song to play, because it's like she's really holding down a lot of the counter melody that makes this song sound so cool. You know, when she wrote the song, the bass player was like,
Oh, it's my time. I gotta get off on this one.
one thing that's cool about it is she uses an E7 chord, and if you know anything, if you watch my last video, go watch that, Lana Del Rey, Venice Bitch, you know I love me a good 7th chord. Oh, and I don't mean major 7th, minor 7. Chords are complicated for all you who aren't into music theory. I know it's very complicated, it's weird. 7th chords are not the same thing as major and minor 7th chords. Anyway, here's the E major chord. Sounds pretty normal, right? But then we take and we play a chord that is out of the scale. And this is something she loves to do. She loves playing with notes that are out of the scale. So she takes and puts this note, that's E. So the E is doubled, or actually tripled in the open voicing of E major. So this is an E major chord. That's an E, that's an E, and that's an E. You take one of those and you go down a whole note to the D. That note is not in the E major scale, so it sounds kind of off. Ooh, it's called dissonance. It's kind of ugly, you know what I mean? And it sounds, it's really used a lot in like indie rock, cause they love that offness, that again. Her being a space cadet, going along with the whole narrative of the EP, that she's kind of out there and she's kind of weird. Just making sure that she again, just putting in as many notes as she can that give you this off vibe. Now this solo is crazy. So this note, when she goes up, like that note, so it's taking the 4th note in the D major scale and sharpening it. So if you wanted to stay in it, she would go, you know, rather than her EP title, Space Cadet, being out there, out of this world, different, weird, alien, it fits the notes even she's playing in the solos. And then the notes she's playing in the chords, because she's kind of venturing a little bit outside of the confines of typical scales. I really love that song. It's so cute. It's such a cute song. It's just like stuff is becoming so homogenous. Everything is becoming just so, because hip hop is such a self-empowering genre. I feel like it's not infected, but I feel like it's influenced everything else to be like, oh, you have to be self-empowering. I have to say how much of the I am. I have to like boost myself up. When in reality, like, sometimes that's not the most honest thing to do. Sometimes you have to say when you don't feel like being yourself, or you feel alienated, or you feel lonely, or you feel like you're changing. And so be like, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, I love it. We love it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If I had to say anything to her, that's what I would say. For those of y'all who stuck around to the end, I really, really appreciate y'all. I really appreciate the response I got on the first video once again. Thank you for being here and coming into my production room with me and, nerding out about music. I hope that you'll join, like and subscribe as all the YouTubers say. I'll post a video every week. Yeah. Spike Lindsay, Beabadoobee, peace.